block you from getting. So this happened like 7 years ago when I was working at this massive tech company. I'd been busting my butt for 2 years straight in the software development division. Stayed late, fixed everyone else's code, took on the projects nobody wanted. My direct boss kept telling me I was next in line for senior developer. The promotion would mean an extra 30 grand a year and my own team. The way promotions worked there was wild. All the middle managers from different departments would sit in this conference room with the division head, and they'd literally argue about who deserved to move up. Your boss would pitch you, other people could speak up for or against you, and then they'd vote. My manager went into that meeting confident. He told me beforehand that my numbers were solid, my code reviews were clean, and he had everything lined up. I was sitting at my desk refreshing my email every 5 seconds waiting for the good news. 3 hours later, he came back to my cube looking pissed off. Told me to grab my stuff and meet him at the coffee place across the street. You didn't get it, he said soon as we sat down. Turns out there was this woman, Amanda, who was a manager in the data analytics department. I'd literally never worked with her. But she stood up in that meeting and went off about how I was supposedly difficult to work with, missed deadlines, and wrote sloppy code. Complete lies. Here's the real reason she tanked me. 2 months before, my division head had shot down a promotion she'd pushed for one of her people. My boss had been the one arguing against it because that person actually was bad at their job. So Amanda decided to get revenge by blocking mine. I was collateral damage in some petty manager war I didn't even know was happening. I was done. Started applying to other jobs that week. Got an offer 5 months later from a smaller company for even more money and took it. Fast forward 4 years. I'm at this small tech startup now, doing pretty well. Started as a senior developer, moved up to team lead, then got promoted to department head. One day our VP of operations quit out of nowhere. HR scrambled to post the job opening, and we started getting applications within days. I was in a planning meeting when our HR person, Kevin, sent me an email with the subject line, "Need to talk about candidate." Called him right after the meeting ended. "Hey, so we got an application from an Amanda Jennings," he said. "I was doing the background check thing and noticed you both worked at the same company from 2015 to 2018. Did you know her?" My brain stopped for a second. Amanda Jennings. I pulled up LinkedIn on my computer and there she was. Same person. "Yeah, I know her," I said. "Great, so would you recommend her?" Her resume looks solid and we're trying to move fast on this. This woman had cost me a promotion, 30 grand, and honestly a lot of confidence in myself. And now she wanted to work here? At my company? "Actually, I wouldn't recommend her at all," I said. "We didn't work together directly, but I saw how she operated. She played a lot of politics, wasn't a team player, caused problems between departments. I don't think she'd be a good fit here." Kevin was quiet for a second. "Oh, okay. That's pretty different from what her references said." "Yeah, well, references only tell you what people want you to hear. I'm telling you what I actually saw. Hiring her would be a mistake." 2 days later, Kevin emailed me again saying they'd canceled her interview. I didn't think about it much after that. Just felt like karma. Then 3 years later, our startup got acquired. Massive deal. I'd been there from almost the beginning, had solid stock options, and when the sale went through, those options became worth more money than I'd made in my entire career. The acquiring company kept most of us on. I got bumped up to senior director about 2 months after the acquisition. I was grabbing coffee when Kevin pulled me aside. "That Amanda situation," he said, voice low. "She just reapplied for the new director position. And here's the thing, she's sitting in the building right now. Showed up early thinking she had an interview scheduled, but there's confusion with the new HR system." My heart started pounding. "She's here? Right now?" "Yeah, lobby on the 3rd floor." He checked his watch. "The hiring manager is about to walk down there and just assume everything's cleared. But technically, since you were department head when she applied before, you have override authority on legacy candidates. I can either send her home or let the interview happen. But I need to know right now because he just texted saying he's heading down." I stood there holding my coffee cup so tight I thought it might crack. 7 years. 7 years since she torpedoed my career for no reason except office politics. And now she was sitting 3 floors below me waiting for an interview. "Send her home," I said. Kevin nodded and started typing on his phone. "Wait." I grabbed his arm. "Actually, let the interview happen." He looked up confused. "You sure?" "Yeah, let her interview. But I want to sit in on it." Kevin's eyes went wide. "That's going to be awkward as hell." "I know. Set it up." 20 minutes later, I was walking into conference room B. The hiring manager, Garrett, was already there shuffling papers. He was new to the company, came over from the acquisition. Good guy, sharp, but he didn't know the history. "Hey, thanks for joining," Garrett said. Kevin mentioned you worked with the candidate before. Something like that? The door opened, and Amanda walked in. I watched her face go through about 5 different emotions in 2 seconds. Confusion, recognition, shock. Then this forced smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Oh, wow," she said, voice too bright. "I didn't know you worked here." "Senior director," I said. "Been here about 6 years now." She sat down across from us, arranging her portfolio with shaking hands. Garrett started with the basic questions, walking through her resume. She kept glancing at me between answers. Her experience was solid on paper. She'd moved around a lot after our old company. 3 jobs in 6 years. Each stint lasted about 18 months. "So, Amanda," I said when Garrett paused, "I'm curious about something. You left DataCore Systems after only 14 months. That's the shortest role on your resume. What happened there?" Her jaw tightened. "It wasn't the right cultural fit." "Interesting. And before that, you were at Nexus Analytics for 16 months. Same issue? The leadership changed. New management had different priorities." Garrett was watching this back and forth, picking up on the tension. "You know what I'm noticing," I continued, "is a pattern. You've had 6 jobs in 7 years. That's a new position every 14 months on average. Why do you think you have trouble staying anywhere long term?" Amanda's fake smile was gone now. "I don't have trouble. I'm selective about where I invest my energy. Some workplaces aren't worth that investment." "Right. And when you encounter resistance or feedback you don't like, you move on rather than work through it." "I think we're getting off track here," Garrett said, clearly uncomfortable, but I wasn't done. "One more question. At our previous company, you were pretty involved in the promotion process. Made your voice heard in those meetings. Do you still participate actively in personnel decisions?" She stared at me hard. "When appropriate, yes. Managers have a responsibility to speak up about who should advance. Even when you don't work directly with those people? Even when your information might not be accurate?" The room went dead silent. Amanda stood up. "I think I'm done here." "Actually, we still have 15 minutes scheduled," Garrett said weakly. "No, we're finished." She grabbed her portfolio and looked right at me. "This was never a real interview. You dragged me in here to humiliate me." "I dragged you? You applied here. Twice. Because I didn't know you worked here. Do you think I'd waste my time if I knew? Probably not. Same way I wouldn't have wasted mine interviewing someone who tanks people's careers for politics." Her face went red. "That's not what happened." "Really?" "Because my old boss told me exactly what you said in that promotion meeting. Word for word. The lies you made up about my work." Garrett was looking between us like he was watching a car crash. "You were arrogant," Amanda said. "You acted like that promotion was yours by default. Someone needed to knock you down. So you admit it." "I admit that I gave my honest assessment of your performance and attitude." "Based on what?" "You never worked with me. Never reviewed my code. Never sat in a single meeting with me." She grabbed the door handle. "Enjoy your power trip. I hope it was worth it." She left. The door slammed hard enough to rattle the window. Garrett sat back in his chair. "What the hell was that?" I told him the whole story. The block promotion, the office politics, everything. He listened without interrupting. "So you brought her in here for revenge?" he said when I finished. "No, I brought her in because her pattern speaks for itself. 6 jobs in 7 years, Garrett. Every time she gets somewhere, she burns bridges and moves on. Look at her LinkedIn recommendations. She doesn't have any from the last 3 companies. That tells you something." He rubbed his face. "You could have just told me to pass on her." "I could have. But then you might have wondered if I was being fair. Now you've seen exactly who she is." He didn't argue with that. I went back to my office and tried to focus on work, but I kept replaying the interview in my head. The look on her face when she recognized me. The way her voice shook when she tried to defend herself. Part of me felt satisfied. She'd finally faced consequences for what she did. But another part felt heavy, like I'd just done something I couldn't take back. My phone buzzed. Kevin texted, "Amanda filed a formal complaint with HR about the interview. Says it was hostile and you had a conflict of interest. They want to meet with you tomorrow at 9. Great. I showed up to HR at 8:55 the next morning. The head of HR, Patricia, was there with Kevin and someone from legal I didn't recognize. "Thanks for coming in," Patricia said, gesturing to a chair. "We wanted to get your side of what happened yesterday." I walked them through it. Kept it factual, didn't editorialize. "Amanda claims you had a personal vendetta and used the interview to harass her," the legal guy said. "Is that accurate?" I had concerns about her professional history and I asked about them. "If that's harassment, then every tough interview question is harassment." "But you had prior negative history with her," Patricia said. "You should have recused yourself." I disclosed that history to Garrett before the interview. He's the hiring manager. He chose to have me there. Kevin jumped in. Actually, the system flagged her as a legacy candidate because of the previous application.